to do Spider-Man first?
Yeah, might as well.
Sure, let's do it.
All right, across the Spider-Verse. We went across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Sure did. I mean, dude, it was so much shit going on the entire movie. Just blast off.
Well,
I
like
felt
you,
like.
yeah, like I think you and I just said, I was like, a lot going on, and you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's kind of non-stop, and it felt like it.
Yeah, I mean that's why
It
I was
just-
so worried about reviewing this because I was like, dude, there's so much shit. It's like there's so many things that happened.
Dude, but this guy, the beginning was just hilarious with the spot and like how he couldn't even control his powers.
Yeah,
Oh,
He's like,
we
just
get-
let me rob you, dude, and he's just fucking up, and he just like he's popping in and out of places, and
it was sweet.
oh god,
We
I ran out of
do a
spots.
non-spoiler first, or
oh yeah.
granted, it's in the very beginning. It's not really a big plot point, so it's not like you gave away anything super big.
Well, and it's been out for a couple weeks now too.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting it's been out a little longer than the other movie we just saw.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. So I mean,
Um,
we can just as non-spoilery.
It's like
I
it's
mean,
just general thoughts, just like
General thought is though, even though the movie, yeah, the plot is going at freaking as fast as the Flash can run.
I swear.
Yeah, I still thought it was very, very good, and I would absolutely recommend it if you like saw the first one, or just as long as you saw the first one, I would absolutely recommend this. It's a nice continuation from the first one.
Dude, I like these. These are sneakily becoming my favorite movies to like wait to come out. It's like I loved the first one, loved it, and then this one I liked it a lot. I didn't love it. I liked it a
Yeah.
lot, but as you put them together, like I like this a lot.
I don't
That's
know
where I
if
agree
maybe
as well.
I don't know if maybe it got a little overhyped because like very early reactions to this was like, "Oh, it's fantastic. It's so good. It's just as good as the first one." I kind of like had that feeling too where I'm watching. I'm like, "This is really good."
It had parts that were better than the first, and like the
But
action scene moments.
yeah. But there's some things about it that I'm like, well, I don't know. Kind of wish there was more of this character or like things of that nature.
Yeah, they short ended a couple of storylines. Like, I mean, and obviously this is the non-spoilery version, but
But say I feel like the best way I could sum up how I felt was yes, it moves at the breakneck speed of the Flash, but I still feel like there's not a full arc still, or it's just like there
Yeah.
were so many things that were set up. Granted, part of this is on me because I didn't realize this was going to be like a Harry Potter Deathly Hollows Part 1, Part 2 situation.
Right.
And yeah, so
Right.
we did talk about that before obviously recording, and I did not either.
So that kind of threw me for a loop a little bit as far as how I felt in the moment watching it. I was just because honestly, when it ended, I was like, "What the fuck?" But I feel like how I feel about it now will change, and by the time
The third
one comes out, it'll probably I'll warm up to it a lot more.
Yeah.
Because I'll probably feel honestly the quality of these movies have been. I feel like by the time we get the third one, my feelings will probably I'll forget about it and it'll go. Boop.
right.
Well, they
But
definitely animated both at the same time because they said that
they're only a year apart. I think. Like I think the
For
next one
release,
comes out
yeah.
next year.
Yeah, and I mean, they literally have said like, I think people have misinterpreted the animators, directors, the whole team behind this movie because they said like how like, well, we worked on this for 4 years. Well, I think they worked on both, like in whole.
Yeah, the
and
whole
the
movie.
whole damn thing took
Yeah.
4 years because they were saying how like one scene in it took them like months to do.
I believe it.
Yeah.
That's what I love. Like these movies, they're so unique and they like up the ante. I feel like for animation,
Yeah.
100%. I mean,
For
like,
sure.
I mean, comics.
it makes you
comic book
almost
movies
proud
in
to be an
general.
American when it comes to animation. You're like, yeah, we're in the race. Yeah, we're top quality as well.
Right, yeah.
And dude,
But-
just comic book movies in general. This
Because
just
usually
the possibilities you can do with this animation.
Yeah.
it's
Christ.
just it's so artistic the stuff they do.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Like no spoilers, but I love like the animation they do in Gwen Stacy's world.
Yeah.
It's very very artsy, but it's also like very beautiful and poetic, and I'll get into that more in the spoiler section. But yeah, overall, like the animation is top notch, just like it was in the first one. No complaints there. Yeah, I just felt a little lacking some calories in certain departments.
Yeah.
But I think it'll age like fine wine once we get the third
Mhm.
one. I think it'll.
Once
Yeah,
we-
you'll be able to sit down and just watch all three of these. Just bang, bang.
the trilogy,
bang,
once you put it together, I think
and then
it'll
I
be a lot more
think at that
satisfying.
point,
Well,
it does. Despite me
will it,
feeling
though?
down on this, I
Because,
do feel like
okay.
this has a potential to be like one of them GOAT trilogies. Granted,
Swear.
however you feel about
But it's
animation,
like the Matrix, though. It's like the first one is its standalone thing.
Right.
And then now you've got these sequels that are like, well, these two are their own thing. So I'm just kind of like, so I'm kind of even more like, when I realized, oh yeah, they split the sequel up into two parts, it's two movies. Just like, man, that's just like how they did The Matrix. That really didn't work out. So
If they were as
don't
far removed as the Matrix was from each other, I would say so. But it's a. At first, I was a little worried because of how it started initially, but then as it progressed, I was like, I had some more of its continuation than
yeah,
more of a continuation than the Matrix would have
Yeah.
been. But if they were that far removed, I would definitely be on the same page you are. But
yeah,
You
true.
know.
yeah, and honestly,
Yeah.
me not really knowing that the third one was going to be this quick of a turnaround, I will admit, and I talked to you guys a little bit about it before. Like at a point in this movie, I was like, this feels like it's dragging.
2.5 hours, man.
And then
That's
it
a
ended.
long movie.
Dude, yeah,
That's a long movie, man.
that's a long movie.
Yeah, that's really all I can say, I guess, about
That's
it.
fine.
I don't even know if I can give it a fucking score.
Well,
It's
do you want
hard-
to
it's
wait to
hard to-
score it until we just do a spoiler?
Yeah.
Recommend seeing it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'd
yeah,
say.
I
give it-
mean, yeah,
yes.
go see it.
Definitely
like,
see
don't
it.
take us like we're saying, no, definitely go see it. And especially if you saw the first one, then go see this one.
Yeah, they're great, and like you said, this could be a goated trilogy coming up. I mean,
Mhm.
because these are slowly, like I said, secretly, sneakily becoming some of my favorite comic book movies.
Yeah.
And you never know how important a bagel could be. All right, so let's move into the spoilers.
Or tomatoes.
Or tomatoes. Food's very important, KP.
That's right.
Wow.
That's
He
thanks,
says, "Wow."
and that's thanks to our sponsor. Just good old-fashioned food, man. Just eat, man.
Yeah. Just don't eat like crap.
Just don't eat like shit. Thanks for the sponsorship.
And it's tearing my stomach up.
Oh, dude, I had one of those Wagyu burgers from Arby's.
You see, KP today didn't stick to his Mother Nature diet.
Did not. And, my body's like, fuck you.
Fuck you.
Seriously. All right.
All right, spoiler time.
You want to mark it?
What are we marking?
Also, so I know how long.
102.
Oh, okay. That's okay. We haven't recorded that long.
No.
Okay, cool.
We want to just throw shit at the wall, or we want to
Okay.
kind of break it down.
First of all, I'm ticked because
Oh, he's pissed.
no,
I'm
there
peeved
must
right
have
now.
unless okay, there must not have been much of crap for previews when I saw it because I only walked into the theater like maybe at most 10 minutes after the start time of the movie.
Oh yeah, I won't lie. When I walked in, the movie already started.
Yeah.
For me too.
Typical movie usually has about 20 minutes of bullshit trailers to go through. So I was like, okay, I can get my popcorn, or maybe I got nachos this time, and my drink. I have time. I go in, it's already started, and she's getting bitched out by her cop dad, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, so I missed the very, very beginning of when she's playing the drums, apparently.
Yeah.
Okay, so I walked in. Okay, I guess I didn't miss much then.
No,
if that
no.
was
No.
because I literally walked
I
in when she was
literally-
playing with her friends, and I was like, "It's already started." I was like, "What the fuck?"
It was a
Because
long
I always
intro,
try to get
pretty
to.
much how it felt.
Motherfucker. So, yeah, I missed a ton of it then.
It was just a long intro, is what it was like, pretty much. I mean, that's how I
I'm
understood it.
I'm not.
Well, you also.
And I feel like that's just
did you get
something
to
they
see?
do with
Did
animated
you get to see how she
movies.
lost her Peter?
No.
Oh yeah, so you missed that.
Yeah, I missed that. So I'm just like thrown into this, and just like her dad, that's the cop, the captain,
Yeah.
is like, we gotta catch this Spider Woman chick. She killed Peter Parker, and I'm just like, okay, so that's all right. Like I've wondered if like her Peter died in her universe. Like I wondered if that was gonna reflect the whole typical other Spider-Men lose Gwen, so does Gwen lose Peter because she's the yeah. So no, I didn't get to see that. So okay, spoil it for me. How did he die? How did this all happen?
He basically, from what I gathered, it almost seemed like he almost was, I don't know, jealous. I don't know if it's the right term, or envious, but he wanted to be able to help like Spider Gwen could. He basically turns himself into the lizard. He becomes a lizard.
That's
and
right. Yeah.
Basically, it kills him. I guess his formula was fucked up or something, and he turns into the lizard, and she like, I don't even know if she actually battles him. Actually, I think he just rains terror, and she shows up, and he's already disintegrated down to his normal self, and
Yeah,
he's just
because
like,
she was like laying there, and yeah, and she came in because she like picked him up.
and then that's when her
yeah.
dad walks in, and she sees that Peter's dead, and she like is like running away. It's like,
Okay.
You know.
Why'd she run from us then? Yeah.
the classic
yeah.
Raimi Spider-Man whole thing, where like, jumps out the window. Right.
All right then. So
all right,
yeah,
then.
so I basically walked in after they have an argument, and then a vulture from someone else's
The Da Vinci.
And it
universe.
was so cool.
The Da Vinci universe was cool.
You're
Or
made of
they-
you're made of paper.
Yeah, you're made of paper.
I wouldn't do that.
And then I wouldn't do that. Yeah, and she starts fighting him, and then fucking other Spider Woman shows up, pregnant on a motorcycle.
Well, that was the 2099 Spider-Man team. The late it's a 2000s run where Ben Reilly was Spider-Man,
Mhm.
Right.
and he was like he was in the future, and he would.
Are you talking about
Ben Reilly-
brooding, depressed boy when he shows up later?
Yeah,
Ben-
when he comes in, it always does the.
Ben
It does the weird noise. Like
Ben
the
Ben
music.
Riley's Scarlet Spider.
That's
the
who that
run,
is, yeah.
the comic run. Yes, all those comic runs were in the late 2000s.
Yes, yeah, that was.
Or at least when they started, because 2099, like, people must love that character because they still have his run going. I mean, I walk into the comic shop I go to, and there's like shit tons of them right there.
It's definitely, I've read them, but not a lot of them, a couple of them, but they're really, really kid comics, like young person comics. It's not like not that all comics aren't kids stuff, but
Yeah, well, I mean, some of the old
some
Marvel,
aren't,
some of the old Marvel and DC stuff is not for children.
exactly. And so this definitely is.
Dude, Marvel's like actually in the history of Marvel's comics, like it's fucking violent. Thanos literally rips James Rhodes' like spine out. Like I mean,
yeah.
like
That's what we talking about.
yeah, Marvel gets violent. Like what you see in the MCU's
Yeah.
very Disney-fied.
It's like
Yeah.
honestly, the MCU I feel like is based off a lot of their characters off the Ultimates run, but
Right.
they ain't nearly
yeah,
what
but
the
it's
Ultimates
not.
did.
But when we were kids,
I'm still
we
waiting
ate
on
all
that.
shit up,
Apparently
so-
comes out the first issue of that. Speaking of the Ultimate Run,
Oh
that,
yes,
that
forgot that was
comes
coming
out.
back.
That comes out next month apparently. So
I am
that's one I'll
so
get into.
stoked for that.
Anyways,
we'll have to do reviews for that then.
yeah. Oh, we
That's-
didn't. We didn't do comic reviews. Anyways, whatever.
We can just tack that on at the end.
Yeah, sure. That sounds good.
Or tack it
Or
on
in the
next
middle.
week, because we'll have tons of stuff
Do
to
it in
talk
the middle
about.
too.
Or
I don't know.
Yeah.
we can
So
have.
Spider-Verse. Yeah. Then they all show up to help because they're like, yeah, he's from a different universe, and she's the Blue Panther.
Yeah.
God, she calls him some other shit that like
She just rattles off a couple.
she
more.
rattles them off fast, and I was fucking dying at him.
Same.
God damn it.
There's so much shit that happens in this movie that
There's a
I know,
lot.
Try-
and
we could sit
honestly,
here all night and talk about everything that happened. that's
right,
for
and
sure.
honestly, that I will admit, I actually walked out of it feeling how you kind of felt, Jay, but also kind of like sitting there like, I feel like I need to just immediately go watch that again.
Definitely.
Because I feel like it was so fast, like a lot of the parts that were like funny or like you were supposed to catch something, it went like that, and I was like, man, I feel like I need to go watch that again.
Definitely. I think, and like even with the Flash, that's similar. That I need to watch it again.
No, that's different. I want to watch that again.
Well, I want to watch both of them.
Yeah, that one more, and I'm ready
more
to
so, sure.
nerd out about that when we get there. But this one, yeah. Then Miles in the spot, that was hilarious.
I like when he's like, ran out of spots. How convenient.
It's so funny. And then he spots, like, he goes into himself.
Yeah.
He's like, and that's how he gets into the multiverse. And it's so stupid. And,
it's a paradox. It's so funny, dude.
It's hilarious. A paradox. Yeah.
That's funny as hell.
I do like how they took him from being the villain of the week to where he actually is like an actual threat by the end of the movie. And you're like, oh, Spot fucked some shit up.
Yeah.
How to destroy the multiverse. Yeah.
And I will say that, like, when he's talking about how he's going through his origin of "you made me" and all that, and like he's talking about in the first movie, I'm like, man, maybe I should have watched the first one before I came and watched this, because like I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, I don't remember. There was quite a few things I didn't remember.
Yeah,
but
so I watched the clip. There's actually a clip you can see from the first movie of exactly what scientist it is that Spot, because when they're running out, I can't remember who, is it Miles that throws the bagel or something?
Yeah.
Like, you can see it in the first one. Miles throws it back, and there's a scientist in the back behind these like 2 open doors, and it hits him in the head, and he falls down.
That's awesome.
That's why you never know how important a bagel could be.
That's funny.
You hear about how mad
and Miles is trying to get all fresh up on Gwen.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was tactful too. The only affection really was the head on the shoulder.
Yeah,
like that.
Well, and then we find out that she's like, because she knew that in every other universe she dies.
Yeah, because that's when she falls in love with Miles Morales. That's not good. Nothing good comes from it, I think is what she says.
Well, I think it was just nothing good ever comes from it when a Gwen Stacy would fall in love, because in every other universe, like, she doesn't have the powers and then she dies. So I think that's what was freaking her out, if I remember correctly.
Something like that. Because when Gwen Stacy falls, in any other universe, falls in love with the Spider-Man, it never ends well.
That's what she says.
Yeah.
It never ends well.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, and I don't know.
He said, "There's a first time for everything." Is what he's like. Yeah, first time for everything, and she's like kind of played it off a little bit. But yeah. Hear about all the people getting mad about the Middle Eastern Spider-Man?
Dude, that was the best part.
I thought so too, but apparently the Middle East didn't think so.
Huh?
I thought so too. I thought it was dope. That
well, was the Middle East aware that there's been a comic run going on for almost 10 years of that specific character?
Are you talking about it not being ran in certain parts of that area?
They banned it.
That's because there's a certain poster in the movie.
Oh, really? Okay, so I wasn't 100% sure of all the details behind it.
I don't know if that poster takes place during those scenes or if it's a different part in the movie, but there's a poster in the movie that
set him off.
Yeah.
Does it depict a certain deity that you're not supposed to ever depict?
That's what I was thinking.
No, it's basically like it's a poster that supports trans rights, and obviously that's like
that's a big no-no.
So that's you don't do that. That's bad.
It's illegal over there. So yeah,
you're stoned for that shit.
It's not allowed to run over there anymore. So yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering about all the details on that.
Okay.
Because I thought initially when I saw it, I went, oh, like I kind of like side-eyed the screen. I was like, they're doing this, huh? They're doing it on TV where everybody can see. That's kind of what my thought was.
Yeah, they don't fuck around.
None of them.
Yeah, that's wow. Did not know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a thing either.
Back to the movie again. Really enjoed that part actually. Like the spider.
I like how it was kind of shot like a Bollywood.
Or animated like a Bollywood
movie.
Funny. Yeah. I like how when he's going through it all and he's like, I'm in love with this girl, and and I am definitely not sitting dangerously close to your daughter.
Yeah.
He says something along those lines, and I was cracking up his whole part.
He was.
I'll come into your country and ask you for a coffee, huh? For some sugar, and then some whipped cream. Bro, did you just say chai tea?
Yeah.
Chai means tea.
Let's see me ask for a coffee.
I did like how that was kind of a running gag in the movie. It's like, why are you saying ATM machine? The M in the ATM is machine.
Yeah, that's right. He's like,
Yeah.
he's like, the M means machine. He's like,
It's so good.
God, that was a running gag. You're right.
That's why it is actually funny when he does go to there, and now Miles gets corrected for doubling up on it because he was the one that corrected the guy earlier.
Yeah. Coming full circle to him. Yeah, funnier than hell.
Yeah, well, I guess back to what I was talking about earlier, like the Gwen Stacy animation. What I really liked about it is it very much conveyed like the coloring and almost the ink blot styles of it, which is also very reminiscent of like the original artist covers of her when she first came out, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
But
It was like
it also
outline
conveys
kinda,
like
wasn't
her emotion in the scene, like
Mhm.
when she's talking to her dad. Like one thing I really adored about this movie is finally that somebody got it right. I can't remember if they did in the first movie. If they did, sorry that I forgot. But they got it right again in this movie. Finally, we have actual comic panels and even text boxes.
it? I know.
Not in this world. The text boxes are in Miles' world, I think. But
Yeah.
we actually had like the different like panels come in, and like in the one scene with her dad. I think it's towards the beginning. Yeah, it's towards the beginning. It's like very blue and just kind of dark and because it's obviously not a fun conversation. But then the very end when they're like split and all of a sudden she's over there and gives him a hug, it like brights up and turns like orange and yellow
Sweet.
and warm colors. So all she wants is just her dad not to hate Spider-Gwen. Just
Right.
another.
And he did.
And just
until
forget
then.
about Peter Parker's death and just
And he
you
did
know,
until he didn't have
move
a
on.
choice.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. Peter Parker ends up being alive with a kid.
Well, that's from a different
Well,
universe.
that's the
yeah.
other.
right,
That's
well,
from the
right.
first
Yeah,
one.
from the first one.
Well,
Remember
right.
the Peter B. Parker that was a loser.
Oh, okay.
So like the end of the first one, he goes back to his universe, and he kind of got his not his ego, but like he got his confidence back after training Miles and like
that's right.
kind of refinding the meaning to be Spider-Man, because the idea of Peter, and I love that actor. He's from New Girl. The whole point of him was obviously he's an older Spider-Man it's like Affleck's Batman. He'd been doing it for like 20 years. He's kind of just broken and beaten, and he's alone, and he's just he was like, they make fun of it in the first one. Like it shows him he's like this in the shower. Like I think in the costume,
Yeah.
he's like this in the shower and shit, and like he's beaten down. So like that one, that's him. He like went back to his universe, got back with MJ, and then they have the kid.
Spider Kid.
Mayday.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So like that's like who that was. So yeah, different universe. So to that, I was very confused. So Miguel, who becomes the 2099 Spider-Man in his universe, he finds a universe where he doesn't. He gets rid of his other self in that universe to then live out with his family, but it causes the incursion. Notice how they use that word from Doctor Strange. Yeah, I noticed. I noticed.
Brave New World.
See what you're doing.
Also calls out
Brave New World.
Spider-Man and Doctor Strange from Earth,
He-
whatever.
Yeah, he labels it some long ass number, and that's where people are like, "Oh, so MCU isn't 616," and it's like, no, it fucking is 616. Like, the fuck, yeah,
I kind of wish they'd
just left that alone. I do. Like,
I kind of wish they did too, because now it's going to confuse some people. But the way I just think about it is, it's like, okay, yeah, like it's still 616, but it's like in this universe, when they find out there's a multiverse, they could label each one's different
Right.
numbers and what.
Like,
we
that's
go over in
his
this
numbering.
one.
Right. That's
Like,
Miguel's.
That's all it can
That's
be.
Miguel's numbering. Miguel numbered it 1,000 or 1,000,009, whatever the hell he did.
Yeah,
it.
whatever, 99.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, what was confusing to me, so he causes the incursion that causes that universe to be wiped out completely. And it made it, he's like, isn't that right? And he turns the Peter B. Parker and he says, isn't that right, Peter? And he's like, yeah. So it's almost like weird that he wiped out that one's universe, is how I took it. But it's like, well, that doesn't make sense, though, because he still has his own universe to go to. So I don't know if that was just maybe a different one, a different Peter B. Parker universe.
Yeah, I don't.
Hard.
It was
say.
very,
No,
that
because
one part, I was like, that's very hard to follow. I don't get like really what was going on there.
I just took
There's
it
quite a
as
bit
it
to
was just.
follow.
I didn't have like a connected link that it was like Peter B. Parker's universe that he went to. But maybe I just missed that. I don't know.
Well, or I'm just misunderstanding the scene, which is very
It's
possible.
very easy to do in this movie because there's so
Yeah.
much shit that goes down
Yeah.
all at the same time.
Yeah, but I mean, when they're in the area with all the different Spider-Men, that was cool.
Yeah.
Like the
So
Scarlet, the
many
Ben Reilly
references.
Scarlet Spider,
That's it. Yeah.
and the fact it's Andy Samberg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fucking
Awesome.
hilarious. He's just, I'm depressed. Against the wall. I was dying laughing. Oh, and then we got the Iron Spider, the all
yeah.
red from like the Civil War comic run era
Mhm.
with the golden arms. I was like, hell yes, that's sweet.
The PlayStation Spider-Man showed up at one point.
Yep.
There's literally hundreds of.
I mean,
thousands
yeah,
in
some
there.
of them are like completely, they just made them out of thin air. But yeah, there were.
Noir Spider-Man was in there. He made a couple appearances. I saw
Yeah.
that.
Superior Spider-Man. I saw him
Superior
back
was-
there. One of my personal favorites.
People
Spider-Mans,
were-
actually, which a lot of people hated when that run first started, and I was like, this is actually kind of dope.
Yeah, Superior Spider-Man
Please don't
was
cancel
there.
this.
Yeah. I didn't like how they had not the original 90s cartoon Spider-Man, but they had the sequel of when like that Spider-Man gets thrown into the future,
Yeah.
and it's like Spider-Man Unlimited or something is what the show's called. I can't remember. But it's like he gets the futuristic suit and like he's in the future. That one was in there, and I was like, well, why is he making the appearance and then you don't have the other one making the appearance? I mean, I guess, yeah, it's the same character, but I
Why
don't
that
know.
version of that character?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, we have all this opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, shit. They
Well, didn't
rang that reg out.
didn't
rag
the
out
animated
everything
one
else.
come up in the end? Isn't he the one that
don't-
like swung towards the screen and almost like froze up because his frame rates are too slow?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I thought that was from the, like an old video game one or something.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know.
It could've been.
I love
Could've
too
been.
that the Lego one was in there. Too.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was amazing. The Lego
Oh,
Earth. That was so dope. I love
and
that.
then fucking God is the what's his name? Shit. Justice League.
Oh my god, it makes so much sense that they went to the Lego world too. Because Lord Miller did this, right?
I think so.
They did the Lego movies.
Oh, hell yeah.
Nice.
So much
Hell
sense they
yeah.
would go.
J.K. Simmons. I love how
He's the one constant.
He's the like one constant. He's the commissioner. Not commissioner, but he's Jonah in the Lego, and he's just talking. He's like, "Where are you going?" I was like, "Oh my god!" Of course they had
So
him.
good. So good.
And Jesus, so funny. Just catch Spider-Man.
Yeah,
The whole theater erupted in laughter when I saw that.
That's
Like that. Then they recreated that meme. I was like, that is fucking awesome.
Dude, they bring that. They're gonna bring that and beat it to death. I swear.
Dude,
Yeah,
that
I love
was
it.
awesome.
I love it. I love it.
God, I loved it too.
The No Way Home already was the OG. That's the OG
Yeah.
live action.
Loved the character. Hated at times about how you literally couldn't fucking understand him, but Spider-Punk.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
literally couldn't understand him.
I know.
So
I mean, I at least I couldn't.
I'm not gonna
I
lie.
got-
I
I
was
had
like, what the fuck is he saying?
I listened
Was
to a lot
there-
of punk, so I kind of picked up what he was putting down. Most of the time.
I do love like how like when Miles was making the big speech and he's just sitting there in the background, he's like, oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. It's like hyping him up. He's like, yeah, give it to him. And I was just sitting there like, this character is awesome.
I love it.
was like-
The
So,
Liberty Hawk.
what-
It's just so awesome.
Am
And
I
the way he was
remembering
drawn all
right? Was
crude.
there like news that came out that they had like basically re-audio dubbed this movie for theaters recently? Like they had upgraded it or whatever?
Well, maybe I do need to see it again then, just for that.
I don't know if it'll help because I went again on Wednesday and
Oh, you have seen it twice.
no, I don't know why I said again. I just went and saw it Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
But,
Yeah, I don't know. I literally have no idea. I haven't heard that.
but it was like when I don't know if you guys saw it in IMAX, if there even is IMAX for it. I just saw it in a regular theater.
I saw it in
but the
IMAX.
audio, even from like the get go when it started, I was like, why does it seem so quiet? So I don't know if that was just a
saw
theater
it,
or
yeah,
or
I
what.
saw it in IMAX and
I saw
yeah.
it on my TV. Don't ask no questions.
Um,
we're all gonna get letters in the mail now.
Hey, shit! What
Actually, really,
what my equipment?
that's how it works.
Come get me, bro. Come get me.
so yeah, they escape. I'm trying to even remember what. Dude, watching these two movies like back to back on back to back nights is so rough. I'm trying to remember what like happened at
Can't
all.
believe you-
There's just so much.
Can't believe you
Shit.
did that. Dude, yeah, I saw this. I saw Across like last week.
Yeah, I saw this shit Tuesday. That Tuesday we were talking.
Yeah.
I saw it that Tuesday and then Thursday Flash, and oh my god, it's like everything's just. It's been one giant movie this week.
I do like how they balance the line with 2099. How he kind of plays like a villainish role, but he's not really a villain. Like it's just more strict rules, man. This is time.
Wait, you
It's
mean
like he slows down. And
it's
becomes
like
a
he
good
has
guy.
an order of Spider-Man and they're political and shitty in the end and like maybe just saying this Brutus character should just go in and fuck them all up.
fuck them all up.
Wait, sorry, that's something else. My bad, guys.
My bad.
That's literally what it is. Like I just sat there and I'm like, oh yeah, it's the Jedi Order, literally. Like he's doing everything for the greater good, but yet honestly they're in the wrong. Like kinda. I mean, I get it because the
narrow
whole
dogmatic view of the Spider-Man.
right. I mean, I guess like he said though, you know, they're talking about like he's like a canon event. He's like honestly the fact it's labeled that is hilarious.
Yeah, it is.
It's
Awesome.
using real world
I love
I
it.
liked it a lot.
hilarious to me.
The term canon is now canon. Let's
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Might be my favorite thing about this movie.
When they're
actually.
talking about like absolutes across every, he's like, this always happens to a spider person, like losing the captain, losing the uncle, and it's like kind of like, oh yeah, I guess yeah, like Miles, he does lose his uncle, yeah, and then he's like, you know, that's what sets him off. He's like, wait, so I'm gonna lose my dad too, and you know, he's not happy about that.
Yeah.
Which does, I don't know, it doesn't make sense. So Miles is always supposed to lose. Granted, I guess he's kind of an anomaly in the first place, but
I was
he's
gonna
supposed to
say,
lose his
that's
uncle
the-
and his dad because in my head I was like, well,
Yeah.
wouldn't the uncle take the place of the father then? Because
Well, no, because his uncle died in the first movie. It was the Prowler.
well, right, but if we're going as far as like Spider-Man tragedies that need to happen, it's like so Miles has to lose his uncle and his dad, not just one of them, because in the one that he ends up in, the uncle's still alive, but the dad's dead.
Right. Remember though, the uncle's still alive because so like Miguel said to him, he's like, "You're the original anomaly." He's like, "Your universe, like, because of the spot." He's
Well, I know. Like
"Your
I said,
universe
it's
caused-"
probably just because he's the anomaly. But
Yeah, he's like, "Your universe caused the spider to come over and bite you." He's like, "So that universe doesn't have a Spider-Man," and he's like, and then you're the reason that you even became a Spider-Man or something like that. And he's like, you're the reason that your universe of Spider-Man died, saving you. And like Miguel basically reveals like he doesn't really like you at all because you are kind of the reason everything is fucked up.
Yeah.
And so like that's the thing. It's like, so for him, like it still became a canon thing that he lost his uncle, and then he's gonna lose the police captain that just so happens to be his dad. And then in the other universe, he just like there's no Spider-Man, and pretty much like we don't know how his dad died in that one. But then obviously, ultimately, as we know who the Prowler is. Childish Gambino was hilarious.
I love
and was
cameo.
that supposed to be like the MCU?
I hope so.
Like
Because he does show up in.
He's in Holland's the first one. Yeah.
And he even makes a reference about something about his nephew in that movie too.
He does. He says he's like. Wait, is he the one? Is it in Holland's where he? Is it? Am I thinking it correctly? Where he's like, "Oh man," he's like, "Oh, I just kind of wish you would be black."
Yeah,
yeah, okay, it is that. I was like, I can't remember this right. I'm pretty sure that he says, "I just wish you were gonna be black," and then he makes the comment about his nephew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I thought that honestly for me was super cool because like, oh shit, I was like, does that mean? Will he show up eventually as Prowler? Which I think I'm hearing rumors now that
Well, maybe the new Holland movie, the Spider-Man 4.
I've heard that there might even be a Prowler movie because Gambino was cast to play as the disco dancing villain or whatever. But I guess that got scrapped. But I've been hearing that he's going to be like Prowler now.
I know who you're talking about.
Oh
shit! My bad.
But yeah, I thought that was super cool that he popped up, and we started it. I think we've kind of theorized that like maybe this Miles will eventually end up in live action. Well, granted, it doesn't necessarily line up with this being his Prowler then, but we saw that line get blurred in this movie. It's like we got some live action here with the animation. How far are we willing to go?
It was cool when he's like every Spider-Man loses the captain, and it shows the scene from Garfield's, and I was like, oh shit! I was like, there it is! I was like, there it is! You crossed it. Line crossed. I was like, here we go. Then.
Part 2, you'll see a live action Miles Morales.
Right, I was going to say, we're going to get him live action.
That'll be the introduction.
Hopefully sometime in the MCU. Or like, yeah, whatever. I don't care.
Right.
God, I popped so hard when Andrew Garfield.
Of course I do. I know, they were doing that pan with all their faces and shit. I was like, oh, that's fucking so cool.
But yeah. And then like with the uncle dying, they showed Toby, and I was like, all right, thank you.
There's our other boy.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, thank you.
There's our OG that walked so.
It is fun. Right. Well, it is funny how, like, I guess since this one is only a Sony property, that's why, like, Holland's wasn't shown. Because I bet Disney was like, no, you can't fucking do that.
Yeah.
Like,
this is our Spider-Man.
Like the Donald Glover one, that's ambiguous. They didn't outright say it's from the it's the MCU one, but we're just gonna sit here and think so.
Right.
Just because that's the only other time we've seen him.
But technically, Toby and Andrew are canon to the MCU now.
That's true.
Disney says, we're going to use your shit, but don't you dare use
yeah. That's how deals with them works.
Yeah, 100%.
That's why it took them forever to even get Spider-Man to use their shit back from Sony, because they're just assholes about it.
Yeah. We appreciate it, but we're going to be total dicks about it the whole way.
Yeah. But again, so breakneck speed, then, yeah, you just get all the way to the end. There's the twist where he's like, oh yeah, the portal that was supposed to send me to my universe read my DNA wrong because I got bit by a spider from a different universe.
Which I
really didn't see it coming.
I did, just because on the machine when he gets in, it literally says,
oh, did it?
Earth
so
42, and I was like, well, that's not it. Which I gotta say, I love how they 42 shows up constantly in these movies, and it's because they're referencing Jackie Robinson. Cool that the Earth that he ends up going to is 42, because it literally shows up everywhere in the movies.
Nice.
So I just think it's cool that they keep paying homage to that. But it wasn't a twist for me, because literally when he goes into it, the machine shows Earth or I can't remember if it says Earth 42 or whatever, but it shows 42, and I was like, huh?
Right.
And plus, in the beginning, 42 shows up in these movies, but they threw it in your face from the very beginning with the spider with the 42 on it, which granted,
Yeah.
I guess may have been in the first one, and maybe I didn't catch it that it was
Yeah.
already marked 42.
But yeah, they were
But-
throwing the number in your face like right, 'cause
so I was
Spy-
like, well, I'm gonna keep that in mind, I guess. Like, I don't know why they're so in your face about it, unless they're just
yeah,
really in your face about it this time. But then, yeah, when that showed up, I was like, huh.
yeah,
And then, so yeah, when he shows up and he starts talking to his mom, I'm just like,
she's like,
I'm
okay,
like, something's really, yeah, this isn't
Right.
right. This isn't right.
yeah,
I won't lie though, when his uncle showed up, I almost took that. I was like, "Oh, his uncle's fucking the mom now."
that's how I took it.
Not apparently that's
That's
not
what I
what that was
thought.
not what the case was.
No, that was not what the case was.
But I was like, this movie
Yeah,
just took a turn. It's got real quick.
right.
Um,
Then he's just like trying to plead with him. He's like, dude, just let me go. I'm in the wrong universe, I swear. And he's like, where I come from, my dad's alive, you're dead because you were the Prowler. And then when like the uncle's like, I'm not the Prowler, I was like, what's going on? Then just yeah, and then himself is the Prowler. He's like, I'm Miles Morales.
with the braids he was missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the braids
you
he was missing. Yeah,
Cut your braids off.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I took that.
Yeah.
As, I took that. Yeah, I took that as nothing. And then it gets to the end, and he's just braids. I'm like, oh.
apparently, I saw like a still shot of like, apparently in one of those stills of like the pass of like the spider getting out from 42. It
Mhm.
shows like apparently the back of that Earth 42's Miles. Like you can see like the two dreads that are coming out in the back of his head. And
Hmm.
I was like, well, I guess they planned this shit out pretty damn well, didn't they?
Nice. Yeah.
Oh,
There it is.
and here is
Well,
rolling up the
well.
end. We will see you on the other side.
Where were we?
I was about to say, do we remember where we left off?
Honestly, I think we were about, coming back to it. I mean, we were pretty much, I think, about to the done part of. I was kind of ready to wrap it up and get on to with the Flash.
I
'cause
guess
down.
we've been going for a hot minute here.
I
and-
guess the last thing I will say, I guess I'm slightly incorrect about there not being a full arc in this movie. I guess this kind of is more Gwen's movie than Miles' movie.
and
Because she has a full arc in this movie.
And
Now that I'm like
apparently-
reflecting and thinking about it, I'm like, well, actually, technically, Gwen has a full arc in this movie.
And apparently we're gonna
And it
see.
starts with Gwen.
Yeah, and we're gonna see more versions of her in the next one. And they came out and said how these movies are actually supposed to really serve her as, like, I guess being part of, like, it's like a dual protagonist type thing.
It's supposed to serve her as much as it is Miles, essentially.
I think so.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I guess like I said,
you are
for
right.
Me,
I
for
mean,
me,
she
it was
does
just
go through
ignorance.
her whole. She does like kind of go through her whole arc.
For me, like I said, it's my fault that I kind of felt the way that I did coming out of the movie.
Oh, it's mine too.
Pure ignorance that I just didn't realize it was going to be a part 1, part 2
Yeah, I
situation.
totally
Because when it
forgot.
ended, I was like, the fuck?
You're right.
Like, especially like for me, and probably it's because I was about to see Flash the very next day, and it seemed like there's some similar parallels here. Just instead of the mom, it's the dad. I was expecting that to get brought up at some point in this movie. So then when it just ended and they didn't really necessarily touch on that, other than that when he went in that world, his dad's dead, but not his actual dad. That's like I think another reason why, the main reason why I was so salty when it ended when it did. I was just like, but we set up this thing and
Right.
now I gotta wait.
Right.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Granted, I also found out slightly after that I only have to wait a year, which isn't bad. So I was like, oh, okay, all right.
And
so like I said,
Kind
little
of refreshing though.
little
Yeah.
sour, a little salty initially when I walked out, but I do feel like the way they've been hitting these first two movies, by the time that third one comes out, especially watching these two back to back, I think all three will go together pretty well. I don't necessarily, I get what you mean by the Matrix. Similarly, I don't think it's going to be like that though, because
Yeah.
even this one plays off the first movie and what happened in the first movie. So they all
Yeah.
still, well, I guess the Matrix do too, but I get what you were saying. But I'll also let you
Yeah.
know that when I watched what is Reloaded, the second one,
Reloaded.
it was shitty on the first watch. I didn't feel like that on this one.
Yeah.
Just wasn't a fan of how abruptly it ended. But
That is true. Like, yeah.
It's refreshing though to actually have a cliffhanger for once. I feel like they don't exist.
yeah, you
anymore.
know what? I shouldn't, especially when you know they're not going to Netflix it and cancel it.
Right.
Probably should actually, like you said, you don't get it too much. And yeah, it is kind of nice to, other than relying on post-credit scenes to kind of give you that tease for the next thing. It is kind of nice to have a project end. It's like, oh, I can't wait for the next one now.
In the world of spoilers, it's good to have a cliffhanger, something to actually question and think about for the next movie. You know.
So I think I'm at an 8.5, but
8.5.
I do think with time that's probably going to go up, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I agree. About 8.5. 8.5 sounds pretty good. I
8.
like that.
I'm right
I'm,
at 8.5
I'm right
as well.
there. Like I said, I feel like audiences kind of overhyped this one.
That I think I was a victim of as well. And usually I'm pretty good at tempering my expectations when I go into it. But especially coming off the first one, and people were saying it, especially
were
like,
saying how,
you know,
like,
me, the
oh,
DC
it's-
fan, people, you know, we got the hype of, oh, it's the greatest one of the greatest comic book movies of all time. And then I hear people coming out and just being like, it's not even better than Across the Spider-Verse that came out a week or two before it. What do you mean? And I was getting like that type of hype from this movie. So then I went in and it is what it is. I didn't quite feel this. I'll be honest, I actually don't agree with that statement. I actually think I do prefer The Flash over this movie. And you can DC shill, whatever. I wish they'd pay me. Put up with this shit for the past decade plus.
Wait, you're saying you do prefer The Flash over this movie?
For now, we'll see after.
Yeah, now do as well.
We'll see after the third installment comes out if that changes or not. I feel like it might. If they're hitting as strong as they have the first two. I just love that animation team so much too.
So good.
Honestly, the story could honestly be kind of whatever, and I'd probably still pay money to see these movies if the animation is the quality that it is.
Yeah.
I think they're just setting a whole new standard for animation, honestly. I think it's just really beautiful to see that it's just so unique and different from anything else. It's just so refreshing.
I think that's why I like it so much. I mean, that's the very main reason why I like it so much. It's so different. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, looking forward to the third one. Just slightly pissed at him because of my ignorance. It's your fault I'm dumb. No, not dumb, ignorant. They're two different things. I'm also dumb.
To the window, to the wall.